What's up, guys? What's up, guys? What's up, guys? David with Trade School. Hey, guys, it's David with Trade School. I wanted to make this quick video for you. And I wanted to go through another great example of how to run your pressure washing business. Just finished building. What's up, guys? It's David with Trade School Consulting. Now, before we start the video, I'm going to say, as I always do, please subscribe to the channel. Just click the button right below us, and that will allow you to be notified if we have any new uploads coming this week or the week after, and you can get this information as soon as possible. With that being said, today I want to talk a little bit about what it is that we do once a customer actually reaches out to us, right? So what are your systems in place that you have that allow you to position yourself differently than any other company that's being called for a pressure washing or window wash cleaning or gutter cleaning service, right? So first and foremost, when a customer or a client calls you, you've spent good money advertising towards them to get that call. You want to make sure that you maximize that opportunity. And the best way to maximize the opportunity is to ensure that you get all of the data, that you ask the right questions, and that it is a consistent process every time. I say this all the time. If you don't have systems in place, there are too many variables day in and day out that come into play to actually monitor whether what you're doing could be tweaked to be more successful. So having a system in place allows me to have less variables, and I can tell where I can tweak things to get a little bit better. So with that being said, if a client calls one of my phone numbers and our sales guy picks it up, he's going to have this speech state piece of paper with him, and what this is going to go over, and I'm going to go over this simply with you guys so that you know how to make your own, is you want to get their client's name, you want to get the address to what the property is they want to do the service visit at. You also want their email and phone number. Now, it's important to get both of those contact informations. As well, I'm kind of going down my list here. How did you hear about us? And on the list, it actually says in parentheses next to that, get specific. A lot of people, when they ask this question, they'll say, oh, I heard about you online, or I saw about you online. If you don't mind me asking, where about online? Facebook, Nextdoor, Instagram, Google, and then kind of just tell off right there and let them answer the question for you. But give them a couple of options or choices and see if they choose one of those. If they do, go ahead and write that down as well. It allows you to see where your marketing dollars are giving you the best return and where they're not. If you don't track your marketing, then you're throwing money out the window because you have no idea what it is that's working and what isn't, or where your marketing dollars could be put to be more effective or more efficient. So how did you hear about us? And then you're going to schedule a date and time to actually come out to the property and do an in-person estimate. A lot of people will argue that doing the estimate over the phone is more effective and more efficient. For me, it is not. We want to make sure that we maximize every opportunity we have, and in order to do that, we need to build rapport with that client. We need to get to know them, find out what their needs are, their property's needs are, their lifestyle needs are, and then from there I can construct a plan, a membership, a whole bunch of different options for the client, and make sure that they're informed when they make a decision on their property. So going out in person for us works best. We have sales reps that do it. We have a sales system in place to make sure that we position ourselves the best way possible to get the most gross out of each visit, and as well to make sure that our clients' needs are taken care of and we haven't overlooked anything. So with that being said, you're going to schedule the date and time for the estimate. You'll go out in person. The other thing, and it says it right here, I'm going to read it verbatim, let them know they'll get a confirmation today as well for the appointment. As well, they'll get a text 30 minutes prior to showing for the appointment. So my sales guys will text them saying, hey, Landon is on his way. Here's a picture of Landon so you know who to expect to show up. It's part of our system. And as well, as soon as you get off the phone, you're going to receive an email from us confirming the date and time. If you see any discrepancies in the scheduled date and time that we've spoke about on the phone, please feel free to reach us. We're always happy to help or change things if we need to. The next thing is very important. I think a lot of people get the customer phone call and then, they're going to get some information, whether they have a form written up or not, I don't know, but they're going to get some information so that they can give you a quote. A lot of people are going to try to do that over the phone, or some people may go out in person. But what is constantly missed during my consultations with other business owner operators is that positioning step, right? So what we want to do as soon as we get off the phone, and part of us letting them know that they'll get the confirmation, they're also going to receive another email. That email is going to be the introduction to Peach State, right? So it's going to go over some basic things about pressure washing and about Peach State particularly. And then it's also going to go over our insurances, as well as we've reached out to clients and asked them to give us written referrals, statements about how the service went, how the experience is, and how they're likely to refer us to other clients, right? And they're going to put that in writing so that we can send that through an email. Instead of screenshotting a Google review, we have a hand-signed, written-out statement from clients, especially some of our larger commercial clients that are in the area that are well known in my service area. And I think that helps position us as a professional company before my sales guys ever show up to do the walkthrough on the property. So I wanted to show you guys a little bit about what it's going to look like. So this right here is our introduction, right? It's going to go over how we save you money, how we increase your home value, how we can protect your your family and its investment, making sure that we don't have damage to the home. And eventually this is going to save you money, right? As a homeowner, if you're maintaining your property regularly, it's going to save you some money because you're not going to have more costly breakdowns. And so we go over that. And then on the back side here, you can actually see where we list off some of our other benefits about commercial pressure washing, as well as being veteran owned, locally operated, things of that nature. So that's our introduction, right? The next thing that we're gonna have is you're gonna have a handwritten statement or a typed out statement from a couple of clients of yours that would be either residential or commercial, but something commercial that's well known, that has some type of brand that's recognized in your service area, is very helpful to let them know that you are professional and there are people that trust you with duties and tasks that are at times costly and expensive, or you work on expensive properties or older properties, anything that fits into the niche or the service that you're offering. So we're going to send that over and then pull this one out as well. So we have another one here. Then we're going to have in our packet, it's also going to go over our insurances, as well as we've actually pulled off and put this in a PDF file, but I printed some off so you guys could see it. It's our concrete cleaning. And so some of our before and afters to our concrete cleaning or driveway cleaning. So we'll have an example of most of our services in here and what we've done to help previous clients with a lot of their work around their property. And so this just reassures that whatever surface you have or whatever you've been looking at, and this is so helpful in a lot of ways, right? So yeah, it's going to reassure the client that, hey, who's coming out to my house? They're the real deal. But in addition to that, they're looking at these pictures like, oh, I didn't even think about getting my fence done. I was just calling them for my driveway, or I was just calling them for my house. I didn't know they did gutters and windows. So this helps in many different ways, but it's ultimately positioning your company before you ever get there to ensure that when you do arrive, you can maximize that opportunity as the best way possible. And your client's going to have more of a value in your service by the time you get there, and it allows you to spend less time trying to build the value in the service and more time selling yourself and the company that you represent. So let's talk about that. So we send that out, and then we get out there, right? My sales guy shows up to the appointment. He's texted her, he let her know, and he arrives. And so then my sales guys have another form, right? And this is going to be another PDF form that they fill out as they kind of walk around the property with their tablet. And what it's showing them, and if you don't have a tablet, print out a form, right? Everything is doable no matter what budget you have. So if you have some kind of budget issue, or you think like, David, this is too much for me, or I don't know if I'm big enough to have that system, let me tell you something right now. You have a system. I don't care if you're an owner operator or you got 15 guys, 20 guys, 30 guys, you have a system. Whether you design that system on purpose, whether you've implemented that system on purpose with intent, That's a whole nother argument to be made. But you do have a system, because a client's going to call you and a client's going to call me, and we're both going to try to get that business. You're never going to just pick up the phone and be like, no, we don't do pressure washing anymore, unless you genuinely don't. So if you are owning a pressure washing company, though, you're going to try to get that pressure washing business. And when you do try to get it, you're going to fall through this system, right? Like, you're going to make sure that you get some basic contact information. Whether you go out there or not, you're going to give them an estimate. You're going to, if you do go out there, you're going to walk the property with them. You're going to talk about some things. So if you're going to do this, if this is your system, then why not try to build a system that is going to allow you to give the most out of that visit, and as well make sure that you're not missing any areas, and it allows you to track your system's numbers and see where you can tweak your system. If you're doing it differently every time, or you're forgetting little bits of information here and there, that kind of stuff can add up over the year. Think about just the simple question of, how did you hear about us? I mean, you could throw away thousands of dollars every month in marketing and not be tracking something like this. Could really help you, something like this that could really help you as far as looking back and being able to project where your marketing dollars need to go in the next quarter or year over year. So with that being said, the next system in place, when the salespeople show up, my sales guy shows up and he goes through his sales list, right? So I'm going to read this off to you guys. It's water source. They want to make sure that they check their water source. My guys particularly are going to check the gallons per minute. If we fall under a certain gallon per minute rating, then we let them know that they have a low water source, and we're going to have to account for that in our time, because most likely we're going to dry our buffer tank out a couple of times during their property if they're pumping 2 gallons a minute. And we have to, look at that and say, okay, look, we would only be out here for 6 hours, but every 40 minutes we have to wait for your tank to fill up. We can come out with a full tank. We'll make, plans, but at the end of the day, we need to let them know, like, or you don't have water there, right? And I checked that and made sure before my guys showed up, so that they're not just wandering around trying to figure out where the water's supposed to come from. So, water source. Then it has a list of our services to make sure that they touch base on each service, that they check each service every time they go out to a property, that they ask proper questions about that service throughout their walk around of the property with the homeowner. So they're going to go through window cleanings, gutter cleanings, house cleanings, driveways, decks, fences, staining, all of roof cleaning. All of this is going to be something they're going to touch base on and ensure that the property doesn't have a need for it. If they do, they'd like to inform the client and teach them a little bit about how we can use this preventative maintenance to prevent the client from having to spend more money on more costly breakdowns in the future. So you'll go through that. Then I actually have a list where it just says 1, 2, 3, and my sales guys have to write 3 things that they learned about the client outside of the actual property needs while doing the walkthrough. And this just kind of pushes my guys to remember that building a rapport and getting to know that client and that need and their lifestyle is just as important as understanding what their property's needs are and why it's important to, the property to get it cleaned, right? So why is it important to the homeowner, and how can I help them fix that? How can I schedule this out around their busy lifestyle? So all of these things play a factor into it, and I just like to remind my guys that. So we put the questions on there, like 1, 2, 3. Let's name some stuff about the client that you just talked with. If you can't name 3 things about the client outside of the work that you just talked with, did you really talk with them, or did you talk to them, right? So that's the whole purpose of that. They're then going to go ahead and formulate some type of estimate. In the form here, it'll tell them to go ahead and let the client know. We'll be sending over an estimate for you via email, and then that's if we can't close them in person or they need to think about it. It goes through and asks you questions like, did you attempt to close them? Did they have any questions? Were they concerned about anything when you left? Did you hand them our booklet? So if you don't have, a booklet information, again, it's another positioning tool. It allows us to talk about what we do in our local community. It allows us to talk about what we can do as far as our curb appeal packages, our gutter memberships, our total home memberships. All of these things are super important. And so we want to make sure that we touch base with these things. Now, it's a lot. So you having a list and making sure that you touch base through all of them all the time is really important. So anyways, I wanted to just basically go over that because those are a couple of systems that you can easily implement in your company to help you. Even if you don't have a sales team or a sales guy, if you're the guy doing the estimates, you want to make sure that you're building the foundation for your company the right way. So when you do get a sales guy in, you know exactly what processes that you have in place, you know exactly how to fit him into those processes, and you know exactly how to train him to work those processes and those systems in order to maximize the profitability of each customer service visit. So with that being said, again, guys, please subscribe to the channel below. If you have any questions, you can always PM us on Facebook, Trade School Consulting. We also have a private Facebook group, Pressure Washing Business School. And if you want to comment below or email us, info@tradeschoolconsulting.com. We really appreciate the support and the following. We hope that this helps, and we'll talk to you later. See ya.